Ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween and welcome to Drama 3 and 4's presentation of Urban Legends in a radio theater format.
This really happened. I swear to you.
This is absolutely
true.
I read about it in the newspaper.
It was sent to me in an email from someone who saw it.
I wasn't there, but it happened to my uncle's brother's daughter.
This really, truly happened. Come on, would I lie to you? There was this girl that my sister's college roommate went to high school with.
Hi, Dad. How's Hawaii? How is Mom doing?
Her parents went to Hawaii for a second honeymoon, leaving their only daughter at home because she had to study for the SATs.
Yes, I made myself some dinner. Tell Mom thanks for the leftovers she had waiting for me in the fridge. The turkey was delicious.
But she wasn't alone. Her faithful dog Reggie was lying under the bed.
Of course, I locked all the doors, because unlike someone I know, I'm actually responsible. I'm talking about you, Dad. You left the front door wide open when you drove away. Leaves had blown in all over the living room by the time I got home from school.
But her father distinctly remembers locking the door. He even stopped the car halfway down the driveway to double check because he knew his daughter would be home for the next week.
Well, Dad, you are getting older. Maybe you just think you locked the door? Besides, don't worry. I'm safely locked away in my bedroom for the night studying, and I have Reggie under my bed to protect me.
But her pet Pooch has been acting strange all night.
Of course, I put food in his bowl, but he didn't come when I called for him. I looked all over and finally gave up. About an hour ago, I got into bed to study, and he scared the heck out of me. I reached down to grab my calculator, and he started licking me. You know how he gets when you aren't around to play with him. He's only sulking.
The girl says her goodbyes.
I love you, Dad, and give a big hug to Mom for me. I'll call you tomorrow.
And gets back to studying.
Betsy puts the phone down and opens up her book, putting her hand down under her bed.
Are you sure you don't want some dinner, Reggie? Okay, just don't whine at me if you get hungry during the night.
But the girl can't concentrate because a leaky faucet starts to drip in the bathroom. Drip, drip, drip. Like the relentless ticking of a clock. It becomes all she can focus on. Drip, drip, drip. She tries to ignore it, but eventually she can't take it anymore.
When is Dad going to fix that faucet?
It wasn't a leaky faucet that she heard. When she opened the door, there was her dog Reggie, hanging headless from the shower curtain rod, dripping blood.
Reggie? Reggie?
But she didn't start to scream. Not until she realized that humans can lick hands, too.
Ah! This happened. A young woman is driving 300 miles from her small hometown of Illinois to the big city of Chicago for a job interview. She starts to nod off, but she can't pull over and grab a quick nap because her interview starts in a couple of hours. She hasn't seen a gas station for a while, so she can't grab a cup of coffee. She wishes she had someone to talk to, and that's when she sees the hitchhiker. In her hometown, it was common to pick up hitchhikers trying to get from one small town to the next, but this guy didn't look like the young farmhands she'd grown up with.
Thanks for stopping, little lady.
No problem.
Are we gonna get a move on, or?
Oh, right, of course.
Nice car you got here. Still has the new car smell.
Thanks. I've had it for about 6 months.
How much did you pay for it?
Excuse me?
Oh, I bet a car like this could go for 15, maybe 20,000.
I don't remember exactly.
Nice ring.
The hitchhiker notices the young woman's new engagement ring, a large princess-cut diamond set in 18-karat gold.
Can I see it?
Sorry, it doesn't come off very easily.
That's probably just the way your fiance wants it, smart guy. If it means having to cut your finger off to let me take a look, then don't bother.
By this point, the young woman is starting to realize that she has made a terrible mistake. But there doesn't seem to be anything around for miles, just fields of corn. And if she asks him to get out, what's to stop him from taking whatever he wants?
You smell good. What kind of shampoo do you use?
Luckily, the young woman spots another hitchhiker on the side of the road. A young, clean-cut, strong-looking man in a fashionable suit. She decides to pick him up for protection.
What are you doing?
I'm going to pick that young man up.
Didn't your mother teach you to never give rides to strangers?
Obviously not. The young man approaches the car and sits in the back seat.
Thanks for the lift. I've been standing out there for hours.
No problem.
Before you start driving, can I ask a favor of you?
Sure.
Get out the car.
The two exit the car with their hands up, expecting the worst.
Now give me the keys. And give me that diamond ring.
It won't come off. It's stuck.
Well, it's a good thing I have my trusty pocket knife.
No! And that's when the gruff hitchhiker makes his move. Get away from me!
No. The hitchhiker lunged at the young man, grabbing the handgun. The young man fired 2 shots into the air, missing their target. Hitchhiker wrestled the gun away and then punched the young man in the face, knocking him out cold.
Quick, get back in the car.
And the two quickly get into the car and drive away, leaving the young thief to nurse his wounds on the side of the road. I can't thank you enough. That was amazing.
You mind if I keep this?
What?
It's always nice to have an extra pistol around, especially if it's registered under someone else's name. I'll tell you what, since I get to keep the gun, you can have whatever he had in his wallet. Look at that, $40, not bad. What an amateur.
What are you talking about? And that's when the truth is revealed.
I learned years ago that you only pull a gun when you're all alone with the driver. You never take your chances with a passenger.
Are you gonna try and rob me too?
Of course not. This is my day off. I'm just taking a trip to Chicago.
An arrogant ER doctor is wrapping up a 30-hour shift.
What a night. Stabbings, shootings, 3 drug overdoses. This would be a great world if it wasn't for all the thugs and punks.
I'm going to go home and soak in a hot tub. My feet are killing me.
Tomorrow, my oldest son leaves for college. Did I tell you that he got into Princeton and
Yes, you told me.
they practically begged him to go? And the full ride didn't hurt either. I'm going to take him out to dinner for one final celebration. What are your son's plans?
He's going to start at community college in the fall and then...
Well, they can't all get into Princeton. Hey, don't worry. The world needs auto mechanics and refrigerator repairmen too.
I didn't say that he was going to...
Look at this photo. Isn't that a beautiful car? I bought it for my son. You should have seen his face the other morning when he found it sitting in the driveway. But, you know, he deserves it. He worked hard. All it takes is a little motivation. If more kids these days had more motivation, you and I wouldn't have to be spent all night plugging up bullet holes and popping stomachs. I'm going to give my son a call and tell him I'm on my way.
But the doctor can't get a hold of his son. He leaves a message as another victim enters the emergency room.
Boop, 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 boop. Where is Dr. Parsons? His shift started 20 minutes ago and I gotta get home.
Doctor, this young man needs immediate attention.
You can wait until the next shift. I'm done for the night.
But he's been in a car accident. He suffered major trauma to his face.
The doctor lifts the sheet and looks at the victim.
You can say that again. Even a mother wouldn't be able to identify this poor sucker.
Doctor, do something.
What's the point? He's not gonna make it. Smell that? Kid smells like a liquor store. What did he expect would happen getting behind the wheel of a car after drinking? I'm gonna try my son again.
Doctor.
But he isn't listening. He has more important matters on his mind. Confirming his dinner plans is more pressing than some drunken teenager who selfishly got behind the wheel of his car and tried to drive home after a party. The doctor sees it as just another life, foolishly thrown away. Nothing to concern himself with. But that's when the phone starts to ring. And the nurse hesitates, not wanting to tell the person on the other end of the line that the boy is dying an agonizing death. But the phone keeps ringing.
Hello?
Who is this?
This is Nurse Emerson at St. Joseph's Hospital.
Nurse Emerson? What are you doing with my son's phone?
And that's when it hits him.
Where did you find that phone?
The nurse slowly puts the phone back on the body of the young man.
My son?
He runs over to the body and lifts the sheet.
My son!
A young soldier sits at a restaurant having a cup of coffee. He's on leave and is driving home to see his folks for the first time since completing boot camp. He's just about to leave a couple of dollars on the table and head out when an older woman walks up to his table.
Excuse me, son.
Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry to bother you. Do you mind if I sit down?
Don't mind at all. But I was just about to go.
Well, before you go, I'm here with my church group. About 20 of us stop by for breakfast every Sunday after Mass.
It sounds really nice, ma'am.
It is. It is. But you see, I used to come here with my son many years ago. He was a soldier too.
Oh, I see.
And seeing you here today, I thought just for a moment that my baby boy was back home having breakfast with his mother.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Oh, don't be. He was a brave soldier.
I'm sure he was. Did he,
Missing in action since 1972, just outside of Saigon. They never found him. But I've never lost hope. I know that someday I'm going to get a call and the voice on the other end is going to say, "I'm home, Mom. They finally let me come home."
anything is possible?
Oh, you look so much like him. I mean, even your eyes have that same sparkle. I hope your parents appreciate you. I hope they tell you that they're proud of you.
Yes, ma'am. My father was in the service, and he was very proud of me.
That's good. I was so angry about Vietnam. When he got drafted, I begged him to run away to Canada, but he was too proud for that. So, when he left, I was stubborn. I refused to see him off. He waited for me at the airport as long as he could, and then he boarded that plane without ever getting to say goodbye to me. It's my life's greatest regret.
I'm sure he understood. I'm sure he knew that you loved him.
Oh, look at me, burdening you with an old woman's regrets.
You're not burdening me.
Oh, it looks like my church group is ready to go. You take care of yourself.
The woman begins to walk away, but just before she leaves the restaurant, she stops and returns to the young soldier's table.
I'm sorry, but do you think you could do me just one favor?
Of course. Anything.
when you see me leave, would you mind saying goodbye, Mom?
It was a strange request, but how could he deny this woman such a small favor if it would make her feel just a little better?
Of course.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The woman started to leave the restaurant, and at the last minute she turned back for one final glimpse of the young soldier.
Goodbye, Mom. I love you.
The woman beams as tears come to her eyes, and she exits the restaurant.
The soldier felt good. Even though he had been taught not to lie, he knew that the good Lord would forgive him for one tiny fib. Cash or credit? I'm assuming credit.
For a cup of coffee? I'll pay cash.
20 senior citizen breakfast with beverages come to $149.58.
Excuse me?
Your mom said that you paid the bill.
What are you talking about? That woman isn't my mother.
But no matter how much the soldier argued, over a dozen witnesses had heard him yell out, "Goodbye, Mom, I love you." The soldier paid the bill and ran out to the parking lot, but the scheming senior citizens were long gone.
And all of these stories are absolutely
Positively?
Cross my heart and hope to die.
100%.
True.
true. Or so we've been led to believe.
Well, people love to believe the unbelievable.
And the better story you tell to go along with it,
The more likely it is that someone else will pass it on.
A young woman returns home from work to find her Doberman Pinscher choking by the front door. She can't seem to clear his airway, so she rushes him to the vet, who promises to call her as soon as he has a diagnosis. When the woman returns home, there is a message on her answering machine.
This is Dr. Hanks, Susan. You need to get out of the house immediately. The police have already been called and should be arriving shortly.
The young woman runs outside when the police are waiting to tell her that the vet removed 2 human fingers from the back of the Doberman's throat.
Oh!
They enter the house and find a burglar hiding in the closet, trying to stop the bleeding from where the dog bit his fingers off.
Oh, that ain't right.
But why didn't the woman stick around the vet's office to see if her precious pet was going to make it?
wouldn't the burglar have heard the vet leaving a message so you would know to get out of the house before the cops got there?
Or why didn't he just erase the message and take the young woman hostage?
You want to know why? Because this is
An
An
urban
like-
legend.
Don't ever ask why. That ruins the story.
A workman is installing new wall-to-wall carpet in a 30,000 square foot mansion. At one point, he sets down his pack of cigarettes to prevent them from getting crushed in his pocket. After finishing the complicated, time-consuming job, he notices a small bump in the middle of the large dining room. Not wanting to have to undo all of his hard work, he pulls out his hammer and decides to pound his pack of cigarettes, hoping the owners won't notice. Satisfied that he has properly flattened the pack of smokes, the homeowner's young son enters and asks if the workman has seen his pet hamster.
Mom.
Oh, no!
Oh.
A nervous couple from the Midwest send their only daughter to UC Berkeley. She assures them that she will be fine living so far from home, but a few months later they receive a disturbing letter. Dear Mom and Dad, I am writing to inform you that I recently totaled the car when I was driving recklessly home from my boyfriend's frat. A candle I left burning in my room ended up destroying the entire dormitory. I've gained the freshman 15. Well, more like the freshman 85, but who's counting? I have discovered that I have a fondness for Cuban cigars, tattoos, and face piercings. I've dyed my hair black and no longer answer to the name Nancy. From now on, I will be referred to as the Princess of Darkness. I've joined a cult. I lost an eye in an unfortunate chemistry accident. I sent your credit card number to a prince in Nigeria. Hope all is well. Love, the Princess of Darkness. Her parents catch the next flight to California, and when they arrive, they find their car is in perfect condition. The dorm has not burned down. Their daughter is still cute and petite. She doesn't smoke cigars. Her hair is still blonde. She has not joined the cult or lost her eye or given out their credit card number. In fact, everything seems fine until the young student informs her parents that she has failed all of her first semester classes. But they're so happy that none of the other stuff is true that they readily forgive her.
A woman leaves her keys in her car as she quickly runs to the mini mart to grab a soda. When she returns, her car has been stolen. She immediately calls the cops, but they can't find her car. Miraculously, she and her husband wake up the next morning to find the car parked in their driveway. On the driver's seat is a letter explaining that the thief had to borrow her car because there was an emergency, and as a token of his appreciation, he has filled up the tank and left her 2 front-row tickets to a concert by a big-name artist. The woman and her husband decide not to pursue the matter any further and go to the concert, where they have a wonderful time until they return home to realize, while they were out, they'd been robbed blind.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Where are you going?
Oh, I'm just going to see if anybody left their keys in their car.
Get back here. We'll check at intermission.
People have believed these tales of the absurd, the ridiculous, the frightening, and the funny for years.
And tonight, we're here to reenact the best of the best.
So sit back and enjoy.
Urban legend.
Urban legend.
Good morning, Bernard. The nurses tell me that you still aren't eating. I really must insist that you eat. It's been a very long time. Maybe your sister will be kind enough to suggest some of your favorite foods. She's due any minute. Oh, Miss Reynolds. We were just talking about you.
You were? I mean, both of you?
I'm sorry, no. I was talking to Bernard about you. He still isn't speaking.
Oh.
We were just discussing menu options. You see, Chloe, Bernard still refuses to eat.
I can't imagine why. If I were in his shoes, I'd be ravenous.
I know. He's been without food for a long time. Maybe if we're patient.
Doctor, do you think maybe...
What? What is it?
I brought this photo from home. It was taken of Bernard and my sister at their wedding, just 2 days before the accident. I thought maybe if we showed it to him, maybe it would jar his memory. Maybe it would get him to speak, to cry, to show some sort of emotion. I just can't stand to see him like this. They were so happy. They were so in love.
We tried everything else. I can't see the harm of it. Bernard? Bernard!
I hate her.
What did he say?
I hate her. I hate her. I hate her.
I present to you Mr. Bernard Sapp, age 32. Average height, average build, average weight. For all practical purposes, a very ordinary man with one very extraordinary characteristic. Bernard is the sole survivor of a plane crash over the Bermuda Triangle. One survivor out of 132 casualties, including his new bride. How could an average man survive 45 days at sea? The answer to that question is much simpler than you may imagine. But sometimes in answering the most obvious of questions, one must first search for the truth in the darkest of places.
I just don't understand it. How could he hate her?
Shh. It's all right. He doesn't mean anything by it.
No, you don't understand. Bernard loved my sister. He loved Jenny.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he still does.
This is not the kind of love that every newly married man feels for his wife. I've never seen a man who was so devoted, so caring. For him to say that he hates my sister, it just doesn't make any sense. His last name is Sapp, you know. Bernard Sapp. Like the kind you find in trees. Or as our father liked to say, Bernard the Sapp. Our father hated Bernard. Thought he was nothing but a sucker.
He was born a sap and he'll die a sap.
But Bernard was just
naive.
He's not naive. He's a jackass.
Father,
Jenny, what kind of man trades a perfectly good car for a bicycle?
he says riding it to campus makes him feel free. That car you sold him just didn't fit his style, so he traded it for the bicycle.
That's not a sound investment.
It's not about the money.
It's not about the money. Everything is about money.
Not everything. Not Bernard.
Then he is destined to live a miserable, penniless life. And no daughter of mine is going to throw away all that I've worked to go live with a sucker like Bernard the Sap.
He just got to finish school. He's less than a year away from finishing his degree in philosophy.
And then what?
And then he'll become a teacher.
A teacher?
It's a noble profession.
It's guaranteed trip to the poorhouse. He'll be a bum with a college education with student loans and your expensive tastes.
We thought you could help us out.
I'm not a charity. Let him find someone else to leech off of. That boy was never committed himself to anything, least of all to you.
He asked me to marry him.
Out of the question.
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
And I'm telling you, little Jenny with her head in the clouds, if I even see you with him, you will no longer be my daughter. Do I make myself clear? You will have nothing, not a penny of my inheritance, no roof over your head, no heat to keep you warm, no food to keep you full. Run off with that fool and see how long love can fight off hunger.
I want to marry your daughter, sir.
Over my dead body.
If that's what it takes.
My father was a very wealthy man. Jenny and I didn't know what it meant to want or need anything. We didn't know what it felt like to have to work. My sister was left with a difficult choice. Stay committed to the man that she loved and lose her father along with all of the luxuries that we had both grown accustomed to, or leave Bernard and hope to find someone that father approved of. She chose Bernard, but it didn't last long.
How is the most...
We see sitting at a table preparing dinner. A moment later, Bernard comes in.
How is the most beautiful woman in all the land?
Did you get the groceries?
No.
Bernard, we need food. You know, things to eat. It's a necessity.
I know. We've got things in the cupboard, though, right?
We've got barely enough hamburger, and these are the last 2 potatoes, which I mentioned to you last night when we were eating potatoes, which I mentioned the night before that when we had potatoes. I'm so sick of potatoes.
Well, they're cheap.
That's because they taste like dirt.
Not if you put some salt on them.
We're out of salt.
Oh. Well, we'll be eating filet mignon once a week as soon as I get signed up as a teacher.
You've been saying that for 6 months. It's time you found a job.
I know. I've been looking.
I'm hungry. We barely have enough for dinner.
I don't need to eat.
What?
I want you to have mine.
Bernard, I can't.
I'm always the one saying that as long as I've got love, I don't need anything else. As long as I get home to see you standing here, I forget all about being hungry. And seeing, yeah,
Bernard, I sent you with some money. Why didn't you just buy groceries?
I got something better.
You mean you spent the last of our cash?
Yes, but
I thought you just forgot. I didn't realize. You spent our money. What piece of garbage did you buy me this time? Another wind chime to lull me to sleep? Or is it another cute puppy that I'll fall in love with only to drop it off at the animal humane shelter when we realize we can't afford to feed it?
no, you don't understand.
My father was right. You are a sap.
Jenny, please just look.
What is it?
It's a gold wedding band. I know I promised you so much more than this. I know you aren't happy living in this apartment, eating this food. I know we can't afford to get married. Not right now. But I already feel like we are married. I've been saving up to get you this. A real ring. Something you've been proud to show off to people.
Oh, Bernard.
I love you, Jenny.
I love you too.
See? Everything's gonna be okay. And
But I can't keep living like this. I need more than this. Here's your ring. We're young.
but I love you.
I know, but all of these challenges are stronger than love. I don't want this to ruin what we have. Sure, we can be happy for a couple of years, but sooner or later, I'm going to resent you. Goodbye, Bernard. Take care of yourself.
But maybe if you talk to your father,
He'll never accept you.
what if he won't take you back? He said he wouldn't take you back if you chose me over him.
Of course he'll take me back. I'll just have to tell him I made a mistake.
They were both 22. Jenny apologized to father and he took his baby girl back. But I never forgave her for the way she treated Bernard. He would write letters to her weekly with no return address so that father wouldn't catch on. Beautiful letters of love and hope. Jenny let me read some. He always signed them until we can be together. But I knew the only way that would happen is if he found a job or if father died. Jenny wrote back to him for 2 years, and then she met someone new. She got married, moved away, but the letters kept coming. It was just too sad. I stopped reading them. Even though she was no longer writing to him, Bernard was never angry or hurt. He just remained faithful that one day they would be together again. He wrote to her every week for 20 years, and in all that time, I never saw Bernard. None of us did. Not until father's funeral. He had a heart attack and died in his sleep. Bernard? Bernard Sapp, is that you?
Hello, Chloe.
You remember me?
Of course I do. How can I forget Jenny's favorite little sister?
Her only little sister. How have you been?
Fine. I'm fine.
Teaching?
I'm a professor now.
Wow, good for you. Married?
Of course not. Why would I get married?
Well, I thought. Oh, there's Jenny now.
I'd better get going.
Are you kidding? What's it been, 20 years?
Something like that. Well, 21 actually.
I'll call her over.
No, I'd rather you didn't.
Why not?
Her husband is probably here and
Oh, you heard about Frank?
yeah. What's he like?
You want the truth, or do you want to hear what I tell people when I'm trying to be nice?
The truth sounds much more intriguing.
Okay. He's a drunk, a worthless drunk. Father set them up and lived to regret it. You know, in his last couple of years, he'd ask about you.
Really?
Yeah, he'd say, I wonder what that sap kid is up to these days. At least he was too poor to get drunk like Frank.
Bernard? Bernard, is that you?
I really better get going. It's been nice seeing you again, Chloe.
Bernard Sapp. You freeze right there.
Jenny, fancy meeting you here.
Right. How odd for me to be at my father's funeral.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean for your loss.
It's okay. He lived a good life.
So, tell me about you. Married, I hear?
Yes,
Kids?
Frank didn't think it would be a good idea to have kids.
Why not?
He just didn't. I went back to school, became a nurse.
Bernard affectionately pats her on the arm.
Good for you.
Ouch!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt you?
No, it wasn't you.
What's wrong?
It's nothing.
You're not acting like it's nothing. Let me take a look.
No, really, I'm fine.
Where did these bruises come from?
I fell.
Hey, Jenny, how much longer am I going to have to chat it up with these jerks? I'm bored.
I'm not quite ready to go. I need a little more time.
To do what?
Frank, we just buried my father.
Yeah.
Yeah? All you can say is yeah?
He was 86. How long did you want him to live?
That's not the point. The point is...
I said I want to go.
No!
Frank grabs her arm.
Are you going to make me drag you?
Stop it, Frank. You're hurting me.
Don't make me do this. You always make me do this to you. I don't want to hurt you. Why do you make me hurt you?
Let go!
Let go of her, Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Bernard Sapp.
Well, shut up, Bernard.
Let go of me!
You let go of her.
What's it to you?
I love her.
You what?
I said
Ugh.
I love her.
Bernard was a successful professor. Jenny was a nurse, and father had passed on. All that stood in their way was Frank, but Jenny took care of that with a quick divorce. Within a year, Bernard and Jenny were married, just like they'd always wanted.
It was like they got to start over. Two teenagers in middle-aged bodies. We were so happy for them. We were all so happy for them.
Bernard reappears in a straitjacket, rocking back and forth.
They were on their way to their honeymoon. A tropical little island far away from their real lives. Their own personal paradise for a long weekend. But the plane never made it. After a week with no sign of any survivors, I'd given up hope. I thought of it as some cruel twist of fate, a real-life Shakespearean tragedy. Within that fishing boat, found Bernard 45 days later.
I hate her. I hate her.
I can't stand to hear him say that. I know it can't be true.
The ravagings of delirious men. Bernard is going through post-traumatic stress syndrome. When the rescuers found him floating out there in that lifeboat, he was in a deep state of shock. We may never again see the Bernard you knew and admired. But don't let him ruin your memories of how happy he made your sister. His words that don't mean anything to us. They probably don't mean anything to him. He's just lucky to be alive. 45 days with a few bottles of juice from the plain beverage service. No food.
How could he have survived?
I don't know, Chloe. None of us know what happened out there. Only Bernard knows for sure.
I hate her. I hate her. I hate her.
No.
Maybe you should go. I can see this is upsetting you.
Wait.
I hate her.
Listen.
I hate her. I hate her.
His voice, it's so hoarse.
He was dying of dehydration out there. His vocal cords are shot. It's a wonder he didn't wither away to nothing. How he kept up his weight, I'll never.
Oh my God.
I hate her. I hate her.
He's not saying I hate her. He's saying
I hate her. I hate her. I hate her.
Absence may make the heart grow fonder, but for Bernard and Jenny, fate may have been trying to tell them something by keeping them apart for so long. A man whose only food was spawned from his only love, a story that gives the affectionate term of necking a whole new meaning, a modern-day Romeo and Juliet gone terribly wrong. And this tale just goes to show that some fairy tales are never meant to come true.
I hate her.
This concludes part 1 of Urban Legends, and please tune in for more spooky tales for part 2.